Hi guys, this is Sadak from Dwarven.com, and in this video, we'll show you how to flash the latest Android 14 GSI ROM on any Samsung device. So please take a backup of all the data on your phone and then let's get started. So as you might be aware, when it comes to flashing GSI ROM on any Android phone, the steps are quite simple. You just have to boot to fastboot mode, flash the VB-Meta file and disable the verification, then boot to fastboot D mode, and after that you have to remove the product A partition and finally flash the GSI ROM in the system partition. But when it comes to Samsung phone, this is not the case and the steps are somewhat different. Each Samsung phone tends to follow somewhat different approach, but in this guide I'll show you a universal guide which will help you install all the variants of GSI ROM across all the Android versions on any Samsung phone. So please take a backup of all the data on your phone and then let's get started. So there exist two methods, the longer and the shorter one. I'll show you the short method which will help you get this job done. If the short one is not working, then you may also check out my longer method. But as of now, let's proceed ahead with the shorter method. So for the sake of reference, I'll flash the latest Evolution X ROM based on Android 14 onto my Galaxy S20 FE. But you may flash any GSI ROM based on any Android version on any Samsung phone. It should just be Project Treble supported. You may verify the same by installing the Treble Info app. In fact, all the Android phones which came with Android 9 or higher version out of the box and has the dynamic partition should support the GSI flashing. And as of now, I guess most of the Android phones are Project Treble supported. But just to verify, you may install the Treble Info app from Play Store and check out your device info. It should say as Project Treble supported. If that's well and good, then let's get started. First and foremost, you will have to install the PWRP recovery onto your phone. So for that, I made a separate guide and a video on the same. Still, let me show you. There exist two methods, the multi-disabler and the FB disabler. Multi-disabler is the most common method out of these two. So I will first discuss that. But as of now, my phone supports the FB disabler. So in the video, I'll show you the FB disabler, but I'll also discuss how to use the multi-disabler method as well. So with that said, the first few steps are common across both the methods, only the last step is different. So first and foremost, you will have to unlock the bootloader on your phone. Do keep in mind that as opposed to all the other phones, unlocking the bootloader on a Samsung phone will trip Knox, and Knox is a hardware component. It is an eFuse in the motherboard. So once it gets stripped from 0x0 to the 0x1 state, there is no going back. So the drawbacks of an unlocked bootloader might still remain there even if you have relocked the bootloader, and it might be a permanent drawback. So keep this point in mind, and if that's all well and good, then you could simply boot your phone to download mode via the ADB reboot download command, or you may also refer to my guide. And once you are in the download mode, simply long press the volume up key once and then the bootloader will be unlocked. I have made a separate guide and a video on the same. You could refer to my guide or the video and get this job done. Once you have unlocked the bootloader, let's now proceed ahead. So you will now have to get hold of the recovery file for your phone. You may download the recovery file from the official site or the unofficial site like XDA. Once you have got the recovery, you will also need to have its VB-Meta file. The VB-Meta file is required to disable the Android verified boot, and this is required to flash any unofficial or non-verified binary files such as PWRP or GSI ROM. So make sure to get hold of that file as well. Once you have got both the files, both of them should be in a .tar format. So once you have got it, you will now have to get hold of the Odin tool. So get it from my guide and extract them onto your PC. Odin is required to flash the PWRP recovery file onto our phone. So once you have got the Odin tool as well, you will now have to boot your phone to download mode. There are quite a few ways of doing so. For instance, you may use the hardware key combination as well or the ADB command. As of now, I'll use the ADB command because it will work across all the Samsung phone. If you want to use the hardware key combination, then you may refer to a guide and get that job done. But as of now, let me show you for the ADB commands. So get hold of the Android SDK platform tools from here and extract them onto your PC. You could extract them anywhere you want. In my case, I've done the extraction in C drive, and these are the files of platform tools. Once that is done, you will now have to enable USB debugging on your phone. So go to settings menu, about phone, software information, and tap on build number 7 times. You will get a prompt that developer mode has been enabled. Once that is done, go to the settings menu and you should now see developer option. Go there and enable the toggle next to USB debugging. You will get a prompt, tap on OK. You might get an RSA key prompt as well, so tap on allow And with this, debugging is now enabled. Let's verify the same. So go to platform tool folder, type in CMD in the address bar and hit enter. This will launch command from inside platform tools. Now type in ADB devices and make sure that you are getting an ID. Once you are getting an ID, type in ADB reboot download and hit enter, and your phone will now reboot into the download mode. It will take just a few seconds, so let's just wait for that to happen, and then we will move ahead with the next step. So once it's in the download mode, we could now flash the recovery file via the Odin tool. So launch the Odin tool via the exe file. You will get a warning, click on OK, and now make sure that your phone is being shown here under the COM port. Likewise, in the log it should show as added. If that's well and good, then click on the AP button and select the TWRP file from here. So let me show you, this is the TWRP recovery, should be here. Choose it. Likewise, go to the user data slot and now choose the VB meta patched tar file. Once you have loaded both the file, go to the option tab and uncheck auto reboot. Now click on start and the flashing will start. It will take just a few seconds. Once that is done, you could see the pass message. So now we will have to boot our phone to the recovery. For that, first and foremost, you will have to press and hold the power and volume down keys. Then as soon as the phone is about to power off, you will then have to press and hold the power and the volume up key. So first off, let's press the power and volume down keys. And as soon as the phone powers off, let go of the keys and then press the power and the volume up keys. Let me show you that, and now press the power and volume up keys for around 5 to 6 seconds. And once the time frame has elapsed, let go of the keys, and now your phone will boot to the TWRP recovery. Do know that the timing is extremely important. If you don't let go of the keys at the right time, then the TWRP recovery will be replaced by the stock recovery and you will have to carry out the entire steps once again. So as of now, let's verify if the recovery has been flashed or not. If your phone boots to the stock recovery, then make sure to carry out the entire step once again. In our case, we are now inside the TWRP recovery. So now let's move ahead with the next step. Now that we have flashed the recovery as well, you will now have to do a format data. So go to wipe. Do keep in mind that this will wipe off all the data from your phone. If that's well and good, go to wipe format data, type in yes and hit the blue check mark. And with this, we have wiped all the data from our phone. Now comes the most important part. So after that, we now have to flash the recovery. Regarding the recovery flashing, there are two approaches. One is for the multi-disabler and the next one is for the FB disabler. So for the FB disabler, for instance, my phone Galaxy S20 FE uses the FB disabler method, and for those phones, they have to go to wipe, then go to advanced wipe, checkmark, cache key data, key refuge, metadata and data partition, and swipe to wipe. This is only for those phones which are following the FB disabler methods. Now if you are following the multi-disabler, then you have to go to advanced, then go to terminal, type in multi-disabler and then hit the enter key. The recovery will now try to resize the vendor partition and will ask you to once again enter this command. So once again type in multi-disabler and hit enter. The second time you enter this command, your task stands complete, and once that is done, simply go to reboot and choose recovery. With this, we have flashed the recovery file onto our phone. So again, I am repeating, for the FB disabler, they have to wipe the data, cache, metadata, key data and key refuge. Whereas for the multi-disabler, they have to go to terminal and then simply type in the multi-disabler. It will now try to resize the vendor data partition and ask you to run the multi-disabler once again. So do so, and the next time you execute the command, the recovery will be flashed. Once the flashing is done, you will then have to reboot to recovery once you are inside the recovery. So with this, we are now done with the flashing of the recovery file. Let's now proceed ahead. And on some phone, just to be on the safer side, you will once again have to do a format data. So the best option is always to do a format data after flashing or rather after wiping the partition. It's always recommended to do a format data. So once you have wiped the key data, key refuge, data and metadata partition, or once you have done the multi-disabler, always make sure to do a format data. This is compulsory. So once that is done, let's now proceed ahead with the next step. So now you will get hold of the Android 14 GSI file from my guide. So let me show you that as well. So now you will have to get hold of the blank VB Meta file for your phone. You may also try this universal VB Meta file. It may or may not work on all the Samsung phone. If it does work on your Samsung phone, then it's quite well and good, because you will be saved with quite a lot of effort. So if you want to try it out, then simply download the file from here. Then boot your phone to download mode. You may choose reboot and select download, and your phone will now be in the download mode. From there, you will just have to launch the Odin tool once again. So let me show you that. It will be easier to show you that. So first off, we will take the approach of blank VB Meta file. So as of now, our phone is now in the download mode. So once it's in the download mode, you will now have to launch the Odin tool. Then you click on OK in the warning sign. Go to AP and now choose the blank VB Meta file. Just a minute. So choose the blank VB Meta file from here. Get hold of it and then load it in the AP file, AP target. So just give me a second. I'll show you it. This file does not work for my phone. If it works for your phone, well and good. So simply get hold of the file, and once you have got the file, it will be in an IMG format. Let me show you. This is the empty VB Meta IMG file. So rename it to VB Meta, and now install a software known as 7-Zip, and then right click on it, select show more option, 7-Zip, select add to archive, then choose the format as .tar and click on OK. You will get a VB Meta tar file. This is an empty VB Meta tar file. Now launch Odin and now choose this VB Meta tar file from here, which we have just made. Click on open. It will be loaded. Now click on start and verify if you're able to flash it or not. In my case, the flashing was failed and the VB Meta file did not work. If in your case it worked, then well and good, and you could then proceed ahead. So if the flashing of this worked, then you may directly go to step 9. But if the flashing of the file did not work for you, then you will have to take an alternate route and you will have to route your phone via Magisk. So as of now, I will take this approach. Since the file was not working on my phone, so I'll have to take the help of the routing method to get this job done. Anyways, let me show you that as well. If I click on the start button, let me show you the flashing will carry on, but it will not be flashed onto my phone. If I try to now reboot my phone will not reboot to the OS. Let me show you. Let me try and reboot the phone to the OS by long pressing the power and the volume down keys. Have a look at the top left of the screen. You will see an error message for a few seconds. So as you could see, the error message, let me zoom in first, and it's saying the partition VB Meta, error verifying VB Meta image. So this signifies that the VB Meta was not the same which I had flashed for my phone. So there is something wrong with the VB Meta file for my phone. So let me quickly rectify this issue and then I will proceed ahead with the next step. So let me flash the correct VB Meta file. Just give me a second or two and I'll flash it, and this is the correct file. Let me flash it and click on start. And now let me verify the result. Just give me a second, and I had just shown you that it does not work in my phone. Your only way of verifying the same is by simply flashing the file and then verifying. Or if you don't want, then you may simply move ahead and try the recovery method, or rather the routing method. As of now, I have just tried out this method to show you that this process does not work on my phone. So just give me a minute, and as of now, let me try to boot my phone once again to download mode, and then I will fix this issue. So guys, as I had shown you, I tried flashing the blank VB Meta file via the Odin and it failed in my case. So to rectify this issue, I simply flashed the DWRP recovery once again. So I simply loaded the DWRP in the AP slot and the VB Meta patch file in the user data slot and flashed the recovery once again, and this rectified the issue. Apart from that, there is no other way out. So if you want to try the blank VB Meta and if it does not work, then simply flash the recovery once again, and as soon as you flash the recovery, follow the exact same steps as I have shown in this guide to flashing for the multi disabler and the FB disabler, and do the same format data as I have shown. Anyways, moving on. If again I'm repeating, if the blank vmeta file worked for you, then directly go to step 9. But if it did not work for you, then you will now have to root your phone via Magisk and get this job done. And as of now, I will be rooting my phone. So for that, get hold of the Magisk zip file from here, from my guide, and transfer it onto your phone. As of now, I've already got the Magisk zip file. The latest is Magisk 27.0. So for the ease of convenience, simply rename the file to magisk.zip and transfer the Magisk file inside the platform tool folder on your PC. Once that is done, open CMD window and now type in adb push file name, which is magisk.zip / and SD card, and hit enter. And Magisk has now been transferred. Let's go to install. Choose the Magisk zip file and do a right click to flash it. Magisk will now be flashed, and it will take just a few seconds for that to happen. And once the Magisk has been flashed, you will then have to boot your phone to the OS and then flash the Magisk APK file as well. So let's just wait for a few more seconds for the process to complete. And now tap on reboot system and your phone will now reboot to the OS. Do keep in mind that since we have done a format data during the flashing of the recovery file, and this is the first time we are rebooting our phone to the OS after doing a format data, the first boot up will take up some time. This is completely normal and nothing to worry about. In case of Samsung phone, they could take up to around 5 minutes for them to boot up. So let's just wait and then we'll move ahead with the next step. So guys, we are now inside the OS and let us skip the setup process. There is no need to set up the phone right now because we'll again have to flash the GSI ROM and do a format data. So as of now, I'm simply skipping each of the steps. And now enable OEM unlocking as well as USB debugging. You will get a prompt, tap on OK. So with this, we have enabled debugging. And now let's install the Magisk APK file as well. So you may get hold of the APK file from my guide. This is the Magisk APK file. Get it from here and transfer it onto your phone as well. Just a minute, let me do so. And once that is done, let's install the Magisk APK file as well. As of now, we just have the Magisk zip file in the backend. In the front end, there is no Magisk APK file. So let me install it and it will take just a few seconds. Now tap on open and it will ask you to carry out some additional dependency. Tap on OK and Magisk will now reboot your phone in 5 seconds. So let's just wait for that to happen and then we will proceed ahead with the next step. So in the meantime, let me repeat once again. We are carrying out the rooting process just because the blank vmeta file did not work for us. If in your case you were able to flash the vmeta file without any issue, then there is no need to root the phone. In that case, you may simply skip the rooting process and go to step 9. But since this did not work in our case, we had to go to the rooting process and carry out the rooting steps. And as of now, our phone will now boot to the OS. And we might have to carry out one more additional step that involves direct installing the Magisk file from the Magisk app itself. And after that, we would have obtained root successfully. Do keep in mind that apart from that, you may also obtain root by extracting the AP file from the stock firmware. You may download the stock firmware via the Freesia or SamFW website and extract the AP file from there, then patch it via Magisk and flash it via Odin along with the rest of the firmware file. But that will require quite a lot of effort and time consuming as well, whereas this method is somewhat shorter. So now launch the Magisk app and you will get one more prompt. Tap on OK, choose direct install, let's go. And now just wait for a few seconds and tap on the reboot button and your phone will now reboot to the OS. And with this, we would have obtained root. So as I was saying, the second way to root your phone via Magisk is to download the firmware. The firmware is at the very least around 8 to 9 GB in size. So that will cost additional bandwidth and time as well. Then you have to extract that. Extracting will again take some time. And after extraction, you will get the AP file. You will then have to patch the AP file via Magisk. So for that, you have to transfer the AP file to your phone, and transferring will again take some time because the AP file is around 9 to 10 GB. Then you have to patch that heavy file. After patching the file, again transfer the file to your PC, then load the file to the AP slot. And after that, you will again have to load the rest of the firmware files as well. And you have to load the CSC file and not the home CSC, because a wipe is mandatory in case you are rooting your phone via the patch AP method. And only after that you will obtain root. But in this case, just a couple of taps are required, and with this you will obtain root. So let's verify the same, and now you could see we have obtained root and there is no any other additional prompts required. So once you are obtained root, let's now proceed ahead with the next step. So now you may get hold of the required GSI ROM. As I have told you, I am currently using the Evolution X ROM based on Android 14 for my phone. So download the ROM file, and once you have got the ROM file, it will be in a .img.exit format. As you could see, you now have to extract it. For extraction, you may use the 7-zip software. So right click on the ROM file, select show more option, 7-zip, and extract to Evolution X or the name of the ROM file, and you will get a folder something like this. Go inside that folder and you will get the ROM file in the IMG format. So copy the ROM file from here and transfer the ROM file inside the platform tool folder on your PC. So let me do that, and it will take a few seconds for that to happen. So let's just wait for the file to be transferred, and once that is done, let's now rename the file to something shorter for the ease of convenience. So let's rename it to GSI, and the complete name becomes gsi.img. Once that is done, you will now have to transfer the ROM file onto your phone as well. So let's get that job done and transfer it here. It might take a little bit longer for the ROM to be transferred. So let's wait for the ROM file to be always make sure to transfer the GSI IMG format file and not the exit. So extract the .exit file via the 7-zip software. Don't use the built-in Windows extraction tool, because more often than not it tends to fail. So always use the 7-zip extraction tool and then get the IMG file and transfer the file onto your phone. So as of now the transfer is going on, so let's just wait for that to happen. So guys, the file has now been transferred. So let's reboot our phone to the recovery. For that, simply launch the Magisk app, tap on the reboot icon and choose reboot to recovery, and your phone will now reboot to the TWRP recovery. You may also use the ADB reboot recovery command or the hardware key combination, but using the Magisk is the easiest way out. So let's wait for a few seconds, and our phone should now reboot into TWRP. Once that happens, we just have to then flash the GSI file onto our phone and then do a format data at the very end, and after that our task stands complete. So let's wait for a few more seconds, and the phone should now boot into the TWRP recovery in a matter of few seconds. Let's just wait, and with this we are inside the recovery. So now go to install, tap on install image. Okay, so in my case there is an issue that the internal storage has been encrypted and TWRP is not able to decrypt the storage. As you could see, all the files are jumbled. So this signifies that the recovery is not able to read the file on my storage. So if that happens with you as well, then you may transfer the file to any other location on your phone. But if it's working well and good in your case, then just tap on install image, choose the GSI file, and then choose the system partition and flash it. Again, I'm repeating, simply tap on install image from here, choose the GSI ROM file and do a right swipe to flash it in the system partition. I'll show you that as well. But first, in my case, the data partition has been encrypted. The internal storage SD card is currently encrypted and TWRP is not able to decrypt it. So what I will do is I will transfer the ROM file to any other location. So let me go up a level, and if I go to the data partition, so the data partition is not encrypted. So let me transfer the file inside this partition. For that, what I could do is I could use the ADB push command, ADB push file name, which is gsi.img // and the location name, which is data, and the GSI file will now be transferred to the data partition on my phone. You don't have to do this if you could flash the file from the SD card section. In my case, as you could see, in the SD card I was not able to select the storage or files. In the SD card all the files are encrypted. That is why I had to transfer the file to any other location. If you could see all the files here, then there is no issue in your case. You could simply tap on install image, choose the GSI image file, then choose the system partition and flash the ROM file. I'll show you that as well. But in my case, since the partition is currently encrypted and recovery is not able to decrypt it, that is why I had to transfer the file to any other location, while I could do a format data and then remove the encryption. But upon a subsequent reboot, the encryption issue will again come back, because on my phone, on stock firmware, the decryption does not work, the decryption will only work on a custom firmware. So until and unless I am on a stock firmware, there will be encryption issue. So there is no need for doing a format data, because after every reboot I will face this issue. So a much better approach is to simply transfer the file to the any other partition. You may transfer to any other partition of your choice. As of now I'm using the data partition, and the transfer might take some time. As you could see, the transfer is done in my case. So I will now choose the GSI file. So first and foremost, tap on install image, and now you have to choose the GSI IMG file as you would do normally, and then you have to select the system image partition. This is the same step that you will have to follow even if you are doing from the SD card. So just to repeat, even if you are flashing the file from the internal storage or the SD card, this is the SD card. By default, every one of you might be flashing the file from the SD card. So for those users, the steps are just the same as I am showing you right now. It's just that I am using a different partition, but the steps will be exactly the same. So from the install section, tap on install image, then choose the GSI IMG file, and now you have to choose the system image partition. Finally do a right swipe to flash it, and the GSI file will now be flashed to the system image partition, and it will take just around 5 to 6 seconds. As you could see, the flashing is now complete. Finally we will have to do a format data once again. So go to wipe format data, type in yes, hit the blue check mark, and the format data is now complete. Finally tap on reboot system, and your phone should now boot to the newly flashed OS. The flashing of the GSI is surprisingly quite fast. It will take only around 5 to 6 seconds. At least that is the case with the Evolution X ROM, but I have also seen across most of the other GSI ROM as well, the flashing only takes around 5 to 6 seconds. With that said, let's just wait for the boot animation to appear, which will signify that the flashing has been done successfully, and the boot animation should appear now. Let's verify the same. Moreover, do keep in mind that the first boot up will take up some additional time frame. This is completely normal and nothing to worry about. From the subsequent time, that will not be the case. So this is just for the first time delay, and as you could see, this is the Evolution X boot animation. So this signifies that the flashing has been done successfully. And for the first time boot up, let's wait for a few seconds, and after that we will have a look at the ROM features as well. It is the latest Evolution X ROM based on Android 14, and it's a new boot animation this time around because it has just done its 5 years. And we will now check out the ROM features as well. Let's just give it a few additional seconds to boot up. So guys, we are now inside the setup screen, as you could see. So let's get started. As of now, I'll skip the initial setup process. If you want, you may restore the data right now, connect to internet and carry out the rest of the steps. But as of now, I'll skip everything and take you to the OS directly, so that the entire steps are quite fast. Let me skip this as well, and it should just take a few more seconds. Let me skip this as well, and with this we are now inside the Evolution X ROM, latest one, Android 14 based. And by default you get a BCR, which is the automatic call recording app, and Evolution X wallpaper app as well. So for that you have to be online. And okay, you also get a Gemini app pre-installed. Can we uninstall it? So you cannot uninstall it by default. You will have to take the help of ADB command. I don't really like this approach of pre-installing the bloatware apps, but still we do have the option of using the app package name from here and then removing the app via ADB shell command. You may refer to my guide and get this job done. Apart from that, the rest of the apps are quite useful. It's just the Gemini app that's not required anyways. Let's check out some of the other features of this ROM as well. Let me go to the settings menu and PHH table settings. These are the settings that you get across all the GSI ROM. First off are the Qualcomm features. If you have any issues with the audio policy or audio jack, then you may use these features. Then you have some Samsung features. There are quite a lot of OEM specific Samsung features with regard to the audio and screen policy and a few miscellaneous tweaks. Do note that these miscellaneous tweaks are somewhat advanced in level, so only enable them if you know what you are doing. Then there are a few miscellaneous tweaks as well. Again, these tweaks are also advanced level tweaks, something goes wrong, then you might have to restart your phone to rectify the issue. And there are quite a lot of high level advanced tweak for you to check out. You may enable the camera to API for Gcam, and apart from that, carry out all these tweaks for the telephone sensors and all the other debugging tweaks. Then there are a few customization tweaks as well. For example, icon shape. There are quite a lot of icon shapes that you could choose from. For example, let's select leafy and check out the result. As you could see, the change has been implemented across the home screen and the app screen. Then we have the icon pack. Let's go with the Ocean OS, and the same will be visible in the status bar. Then this is the font family. There are quite a lot of font style to choose from. These are the font style for the PHS table settings. We are not talking about the Evolution X. Evolution X will have its own set of custom fonts as well, which we will have a look. As of now, let's go with this font. So whatever font you will choose will be implemented across the entire UI and UX of the OS. So as you could see, the changes are being implemented right now. Anyways, let me go back to the default font style. Just a minute. This is the default font style and the font family as well. And then you have a few other tweaks. The most of the tweaks are in the evolver section. First off, we have the themes, and you may choose from the dark or light theme. So for instance, let's go to the dark theme, and you may enable or disable the dark theme from here, or you may schedule the dark theme based on the time of the day. Then you have a font style. As you could see, these are the font which are specific to the Evolution X ROM, and this is the Evolution X specific font style. And this is also quite interesting font, and there are quite a lot of fonts that you could choose from. In fact, all these fonts are also there on the GSI ROM, or rather on the Evolution X custom ROM, and the same font have been given here in the GSI ROM as well. As you could see, the changes being implemented across the OS. Anyways, let's get back to the default font style for now. Then next up, we have the icon packs. You may choose from these icon pack, and they will be visible in the status bar. Then you have a Wi-Fi icon style. Again, there are quite a lot of icon styles to choose from. And Wi-Fi, well, there are really quite a lot of Wi-Fi icon styles. In fact, I haven't seen these many customization tweaks across many GSI ROMs. The GSI ROMs are usually basic in nature, but it has quite a lot of customizations. In fact, it's looking somewhat similar to the custom ROM. When it comes to the tweaks option, then it has the same level of tweaks as we see in the custom ROM. And as you could see, I have changed the icon shape as well. Anyways, let's get back to the default icon shape. And then we have the brightness slider. This is the default one, as you could see. Now let me get to the filled one and check out the result, how it looks like. So this is the filled. It is somewhat narrower in color, thin outline. So let's wait for a few seconds for the change to be implemented. This does not looks good as well. So I had my own favorite. I guess it was leafy outline. Let me verify it once. Yes, I always prefer this one, and this is my favorite one. As you could see, this is the leafy outline. And apart from that, you have a few other options as well. The volume panel styles. So this is the default volume panel. Let me show you. This is the default one. Now let me choose for the new morph outline style. Just a minute, and now let's check out the result. So it's not in sync with my requirement. Let me go with the double layer style and check out the result. Again, it's not what I was looking for. This is the outline style. Let's have a look at this. Somewhat better, but still the stock one was the best one. Apart from that, you have a few navigation bar style as well. So if you're using a 3-button navigation, then you may choose from these customizations for OnePlus, Nexus, or the Motorola as well. As of now, using the navigation bar style. Then you have a signal for the mobile data and the carrier. Again, there are quite a lot of options to choose from, as you could see from here. In fact, you might not even find these many options in a custom ROM. These are the options we are getting in a GSI ROM, and even these many options are not there on many custom ROM as well. Well, it's just a never-ending list. There are quite a lot of carrier data style. Finally, we have the data icon style for the 4G LTE and 5G. So these are all the customization tweaks, and apart from that, this was just for the status bar. Then next up we have the notification. You may enable the kill app button option in the notification for the third-party apps as such. For instance, let me long press on it, and as you could see, we have the force stop button in this. Then apart from notification, you have a few QS tweaks as well. Then QS tile style, let me check square tiles, and let's have a look at the customizations. Well, it's somewhat similar to the Android 11 QS tiles, which I don't like, to be frank, and QS panel style is also there. Let's have a look. So let me choose the Cyberpunk and have a look at that. Somewhat good. Okay, will do. And then you may hide the label. This will hide the naming scheme of the QS tiles. As you could see, there is no names. Then apart from that, you may increase or decrease the number of QS tiles per row and per column. Then once that is done, you may also tweak the power menu, and then you may enable advanced power menu as well. Let me have a look at that. So in the advanced power menu, you get the option to reboot to recovery, fastboot, and system UI. Fastboot D, or rather the download mode, is also not there. So download mode should have been there, but still we will get the job done from the recovery mode itself. Then there are a few gesture tweaks. You may take partial screenshot, or double tap to sleep is also there. Double tap on the status bar to sleep. Well, this is one feature which tends to work in some phones, and sometimes it does not work. As of now, it's not working. Anyways, let's check out some of the other gestures. So tap to start actions. You may assign an action at the double tap at the back of your phone. For instance, you may take a screenshot, and apart from that, you may lift to check phone, show ambient display. So if you enable AOD, do note that it will lead to additional battery drainage as well. So keep this point in mind, and only then proceed ahead to enable the AOD on your phone. Okay, so double tap to wake is also not working as of now. Lift to check device, let me check that. So I guess there might be some issues with the AOD. You may do a restart of system UI and verify the same. Then swipe to screenshot. Let's check this out. So it's working well and good. And then quick torch playback control and all such stuffs. Then apart from gestures, we have a few lock screen tweaks as well. Ambient music trigger. This will show that when the music track is being played, you may show an ambient display. Enable edge lightning for notification, and you may choose the or change the lock screen. For the lock screen, there are quite a lot of options. It's quite great to see. For instance, this is a coding style clock. So let me show you. IDE, as you could see the clock at the top left, date, time, and this is definitely quite impressive. If you know the command line interface, then you might already be aware of this command. And let me show you, these are the various clock styles that you could choose from. Anyways, moving on, you may enable the lock screen charging info, but again that will lead to some additional battery drainage. Ripple effect, fingerprint authentication, all these will add a few additional effects to the UI and UX of the OS, but will lead to the battery drainage as well. So make sure to enable them if that is extremely important. Then apart from that, you have a few button and navigation bar tweaks as well. Advanced gesture option, trigger action or swipe. So you may enable the gestures and to open any app of your choice. Then you may end the call via the power button as well. You may show the volume in the, let me show you the volume percentage as well. So press the volume key, and as you could see, the current volume is being shown here. And apart from that, there are a few miscellaneous tweaks as well. Okay, that's great to see. We have a spoofing option, and okay, great, we even have a play integrity fix as well. You don't even find this option across many custom ROMs, but using this play integrity fix, you could now easily enable it and then use all the banking and payment app of your choice. As of now, the custom build prop fingerprint is being used from a Motorola phone, but if the Google tends to patch it, then simply update the ROM and the fingerprint will be updated. If the developer has launch a new version, and then you'll once again be able to pass the play integrity test. Just make sure to keep all this toggle enabled. And apart from that, you also get unlimited photo storage. So this is also quite impressive. And then you could spoof your phone for Netflix, but do keep in mind that for Netflix spoof, the phone is being spoofed as Pixel 8 Pro. So if you enable this as well, then the unlimited photo storage might not work, because for Google Photos tweak, it will spoof your phone to the Google Pixel XL, and for Netflix, it will spoof the phone to the Pixel 8 Pro, and this might lead to a conflict of interest. So in the Netflix spoof, if you don't enable it, then you might only be able to view the content in 480p. For me, this might still be good enough, since I'm already getting unlimited photo storage. So for me, the Google Photos is somewhat much more important than compared with Netflix, but the choice is ultimately yours. And apart from that, you even have a Snapchat spoof. This is the first time I've seen this feature in any custom ROM. Again, in case of Snapchat spoof, it will spoof your phone to the Pixel 2 and allow original quality captures. So keep this point in mind, that the unlimited photo storage is for the Pixel XL, Netflix is Pixel 8 Pro, and for Snapchat is the Pixel 2. Only enable one of these three features, because if you enable two or more, then they might conflict with each other. I am not quite sure, but it might be the case of conflict of interest. That is why I will only keep the unlimited photo storage. I don't use Snapchat, and for me, Netflix 480p might be good enough because I'm getting the photo storage. So the choice is ultimately yours. And so guys, with that said, apart from that, you may also enable the toggle to downgrade the application and show the CPU information. That's great to see. Then you may also block the sensor based on per app. Well, I guess this is one of the most highly customizable and feature rich GSI ROM. I haven't seen these many features on many custom ROM, but we are getting these features on a GSI ROM, which is quite great to see and really appreciated. And these were all the tweaks. So guys, on that note, I round up this video. If you have any queries with regard to any of the steps, do let me know in the comment section, and thanks a lot for watching.